What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, we have some breaking news, which is some very, very interesting news, as the highly anticipated unification showdown at light heavyweight has been denied between undefeated unified WBC IBF light heavyweight world champion Russian superstar boxer ARTUR BETERBIEV. 17 wins, no losses, no draws. ARTUR BETERBIEV is 37 years of age, 5'11" and a half with a 73-inch arm reach. With that said, ARTUR BETERBIEV was looking forward to a unification bout with WBO light heavyweight world champion star boxer Joe Smith Jr., who is 28 wins, 3 losses, no draws, 22 big wins by way of knockout. He himself was knocked out before, 32 years of age, 6 feet tall with a 76-inch arm reach. It looked like that fight was going to come to fruition over the summertime, late spring, okay? But due to the chain of events that's taking place over in Russia and Ukraine, and ARTUR BETERBIEV being a Russian athlete, the WBC, the IBF, and the WBO have now all decided to not recognize and sanction any world champions that are Russian fighters, but get this, except for the fighter, that 4-division world champion Mexican superstar boxer, who is currently the undisputed super middleweight world champion, widely considered the face of the sport of boxing, top 3, if not number 1 best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, in Saul Canelo Alvarez. 57 wins, 1 loss, 2 draws, 39 big wins by way of knockout, 5'8" with a 70-inch arm reach at 31 years of age. He's scheduled to take on undefeated WBA, World Boxing Association, light heavyweight world champion, Russian superstar boxer DMITRY BIVOL, who is 19 wins, no losses, no draws, 11 wins by way of knockout, 31 years of age, 6 feet tall with a 72-inch arm reach. So the WBA, conveniently, out of the 4 major sanction belts, the WBA, World Boxing Association, President Gilberto Mendoza, are not, get this, are not going to stand with the WBC, the WBO, and the IBF. They are going to stand on their own and allow Canelo Alvarez fight to be a sanctioned title fight, so that when May 7th, Cinco de Mayo weekend, Canelo Alvarez victorious against DMITRY BIVOL, he'll be a 2-time light heavyweight world champion. So they don't want to stand in the way of Canelo Alvarez and his legacy. But the WBC, the IBF, and the WBO, they will not allow ARTUR BETERBIEV, who's a Russian fighter, and in the same division, light heavyweight, to face off against Joe Smith Jr. in a unification bout. They will not acknowledge that. They will not sanction that fight. But they will sanction a Canelo Alvarez fight with DMITRY BIVOL. And this is why people have an issue, and this is why Canelo Alvarez gets the backlash that he receives, because there is no way that this is just happened so to be convenient that Canelo Alvarez, a coincidence that the WBA has no interest in standing with the other major sanction belts, as the world globally is now deciding to not acknowledge Russian athletes. Globally, we saw Ukrainian superstar legends from the sport of boxing that are pleading with, not just the sport of boxing, but globally or internationally. In the Olympics, they're not sanctioning any Russian athletes. We saw 2-time Olympic gold medalist, 3-division world champion, former unified lightweight world champion, Ukrainian superstar boxer Vasyl Lomachenko. 2 Hall of Famers in Vitaly and Vladimir Klitschko. We saw Olympic gold medalist in Alexander Usyk, who's a 2-division undefeated world champion and a unified heavyweight world champion. We saw former junior welterweight world champion Victor Postol, Alexander Usyk, and we saw a title contender, middleweight title contender in Sergey Derevyanchenko, all plead with the world globally to not allow these athletes to participate because of the chain of events that's taking place in Ukraine, between Ukraine and Russia. But conveniently, the sport of boxing decides that they're going to stand up and they're going to acknowledge this and not recognize and sanction these Russian athletes, all but one, just to make sure that Canelo Alvarez is secure in his legacy. Not to block Canelo Alvarez. To make sure that Canelo Alvarez's legacy will not have a blemish on it. I put out, and I told you guys last night, that they're pleading for this fight. They stated that now DMITRY BIVOL will not be able to garner his flag. Okay, the Russian national anthem will not be sung at the fight with Canelo Alvarez. And so all of these things are taking place. And yet, the WBA, in only this fight, has decided that they are not going to stand by this, and they will allow DMITRY Bivol's WBA title to be on the line, and they will sanction this fight, and it will be a championship fight. And this is why so many detractors follow Canelo Alvarez. First, you have issues with the judges. You know, if it goes to the judges' scorecards, more than likely, you're not going to get the decision against Canelo Alvarez. You know that more than likely, Canelo Alvarez is going to get a paycheck like no other. Okay? You know that the sport of boxing is catering to Canelo Alvarez. The WBC, World Boxing Council, President Mauricio Suleiman, 32 board members, they decided to create a franchise title so Canelo Alvarez didn't have to honor his mandatory challenger and undefeated two-division world champion, now WBC reigning middleweight world champion, superstar boxer, Jamal Lyons Only Charlo. So he didn't have to honor the mandatory and fight Jamal Charlo. They created a franchise title that's never been seen and never been introduced to the sport of boxing. They came up with this overnight and presented it to Canelo Alvarez, and then it got out of control because they lost their handle on it, because they couldn't just sit and just bluntly let you know it was conveniently created just solely for Canelo Alvarez. So it started to spread throughout the sport of boxing, and it was created so that you didn't have to face your mandatories, okay? But in the same token, they stated it was an acknowledgement, it was a trophy, and an award, essentially, that cannot be won or lost. But then they lost control of it, and other fighters, because you can't just bluntly say you just created this solely for one guy in the sport of boxing. So it got out of control. The rules got out of control, and now it's causing confusion within the sport of boxing, especially at the lightweight division. And now you have the WBA, President Gilberto Mendoza, the board. They are now going to allow Canelo Alvarez fight with DMITRY Bivol, the only ones. Now, a major fight between ARTUR BETERBIEV and Joe Smith Jr., a unification bout, 3 belts on the line, 1 fighter is undefeated. That's not worthy of being a title showdown. That's not worthy of being sanctioned. ARTUR BETERBIEV can't create history. He's going on 37 years of age. He is 37 years of age. Time is not on his side. He's looking to become undisputed at light heavyweight. And you take this moment from him because of the chain of events that's taking place with his country as he's Russian. Okay? Joe Smith Jr. is an American fighter. Get this. He's an American fighter that's looking to create history. He has nothing to do with this. But then you have a fighter in Canelo Alvarez who's a Mexican fighter facing off against a Russian fighter, and yet this will be sanctioned. This will be allowed. This is completely what's wrong with the sport of boxing. On display, on full display to everybody in the world to see the politics, the favoritism, and the unbalanced fairness within the sport of boxing. It's unbelievable. So when people say the sport of boxing is on the up and up, this is a black eye for the sport of boxing. This is horrible. If DMITRY Bivol, who's Russian, a Russian undefeated athlete, just like ARTUR BETERBIEV, how could he be sanctioned and he cannot? Amazing, isn't it? No, it's not. It's no surprise at all. But that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue. Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Hit the bell icon to get all the new notification. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
You're watching Blue Blood Sports TV. Wow.